Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Coram and Ken Shreve here with a breakdown of the action in today's session. Now, Ken, is Santa Claus coming to town? Because it sure did seem pretty merry and bright on Wall Street today.
Yeah, well, I think technically this so-called Santa Claus rally, we have to wait until next week, right, before we get that rally into the end of the year. But I think Santa came early today. Good gains for the major stock indexes. Still seeing a lot of good action in individual stocks. So why don't we start by taking a look at Tidewater. Now, this is in the same industry group. I know you and Ed looked at three stocks in the field services group yesterday. So I'm going to talk about a fourth that we've been talking about on IBD Live, Tidewater, TDW. And then we'll also take a look at leaderboard stock Tenaris, a steel producer, TS, and finally Fluor, FLR in the construction group. Lots of strong price performers in that group. So FLR is the ticker there.
Great. We'll do that. First, let's take a look at the major indexes today. So we had the NASDAQ up 1.5%. Same for the S&P 500 and the Russell 2000. The Dow outpacing those gains, though, up 1.6% here today. So here's a look at the NASDAQ, which has been pretty weak. And we did get a teeny tiny bounce yesterday, but today stocks really kicked things up a notch.
Yeah, and when we had the decline for the market last week, and just looking at the Nasdaq, you had this four-session losing streak, and there was some volume behind the downside there, and then we've rallied back yesterday in light volume and rallied back again in lower volume, looks like again today. So this is still a challenged market technically. So we'll take the big gains. The market opened strongly on the heels of a strong earnings report from Nike, and it basically held gains for a good portion of the session. So ended with strong percentage gains, but yeah, you see the Nasdaq there just did a good job holding gains after moving up sharply at the open. And but this is still a challenged market. You can see that 11,000 level. You've got all these converged moving averages now that the Nasdaq's going to have to conquer. That all is happening right around the 11,000 level. So this is still a very, very challenging market where it's a good idea to have a good cash position. And if you're going to nibble here and there, you don't be afraid to take profits when you have them.
Right, and it feels pretty clear now, at least for the NASDAQ at this juncture. We've seen a lot of chop and slop over the last couple of months. It's been a very tricky environment underneath the surface, even for S&P 500 stocks, which have been faring better here. You do have a little bit more of a defined move up, but range developing here over the last number of weeks, Ken, in the S&P now trying to get back above that 50-day line.
Yeah, it also rallied in lower volume today. It actually tried to pop above its 50-day moving average today, which would have been a nice development, but I think it probably closed maybe right at the line, maybe just a little bit below it. So this index is still challenged as well. We'll see if we can make a move above those short-term moving averages that are converged, the 10-day and the 21-day line, and then Nasdaq's going to have to make a run at the 4,000 level. Maybe it'll do it sooner rather than later, but still a lot of overhead supply issues that we're talking about here. So it just seems like any strength is met by selling soon after. So we'll see if that pans out this time, but again, we'll take bullish gains when we get them, and we got them today.
Exactly. Yeah. Instead of buying into strength, thinking about selling into strength before you get that weakness. We're seeing a lot of these, quick rotations, and the market really has been favoring strategies that are making sure, you're not buying too extended. We are in a different position here now than we were when we tried to make that move on the CPI news on the 13th, but just something to keep in mind to really roll with the punches and think short term still at this point.
Yeah, and we have a very key piece of economic data on Friday too. The market's sort of grappling with all this, wholesale inflation and consumer inflation. And on Friday, which is probably going to be a very very low volume session, we do have a key economic report, the personal income and spending. Inside of that report is the personal consumption expenditures index, which is a very important inflation reading. That's supposed to fall from the prior month, like we've seen the producer price index do. We saw the consumer price index do that as well. So we should get similarly good news from the PCE, and we'll see. But that it's an important piece of economic data on Friday that is going to come probably in a pretty quiet, dull trading session. We'll see.
Yeah, a great note there, Ken, on that coming up. Let's also take a look at the Dow here, outperforming today and a bounce up to its 21-day line after finding support at the 50-day, right where we'd want to see it.
Yeah, and this is we've been talking about the strength in blue chips and value stocks in general, and this is a better looking chart certainly than the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 to see the blue chip index find support where it did. It's a good sign. Now it's right at that 10-day and 21-day line. So blue chips continue to act well, and there's earnings reports from not only Nike but FedEx in the news as well today. But Nike, a big reason why the Dow was able to have a strong performance today.
No doubt. And the Russell 2000, which is tracked by the IWM ETF, having a pretty strong day here as well. But it's been showing weakness lately a lot too, like the NASDAQ, still yet to get back above its 50-day line, which has now converged as well with that 21-day.
Yeah, for kind of a similar situation as the S&P 500 and Nasdaq. Still have some overhead supply that we're dealing with, so we'll see how the week plays out here.
Okay, and among sectors, let's take a look at healthcare. Here's a look at XLV, bouncing today up 1.3%. Ken, your thoughts on what we're seeing in healthcare stocks?
Yeah, I think this ETF looks good. I think it made a run towards that 140 level. It came down recently and basically retested. There you go, retested this last buy area here. So it had a good close today, the XLV, and to me this certainly doesn't look extended after that 4-day pullback, but it kind of firmed up right where you'd expect it to, just above its 50-day moving average, and again just a retest of that 134.47 pivot. So at 136.21 doesn't seem extended to me. And if you're looking for some ETF exposure, wouldn't be surprised to see healthcare continue to do well in 2023.
Okay, and from the broader healthcare sector, then focusing in a little bit more on biotech stocks. Here's a look at IBB. Similar bounce today, percentage-wise, almost 1.3% after coming down to this round number at 130 and the 50-day line. Seeing a second up day in a row here.
Yeah, not much volume in the ETF yesterday, but volume picked up the pace a little bit today, still below average. Another ETF that looks really strong here. Good support at the 50-day moving average on Tuesday. Extended gains today. Let's see where it can't be that far above its 50-day line at this point.
Yeah, only 2.7%.
Yeah, so again, you definitely want to avoid chasing stocks in all types of markets, but especially in a market like right now. And I think with both XLV and IBB, both of these look actionable here, and I think they both look pretty strong.
Okay, well, more stocks for investors' radar include TDW, Tidewater, another oil and gas field services stock on our radar. Fractional gain here today, but had a strong session yesterday, and it's a standout in the group. I mean, it has an RS rating of 99, composite rating of 97, and I think this technical strength underscored by the fact that it did not lose support at its 50-day line when a lot of the sector came under pressure recently.
Yeah, and again, yesterday's stock market today video with that, I think you had Schlumberger and Halliburton and what was the other one? ACDC.
ACDC.
Yeah, Profrac. But Tidewater is definitely worthy of consideration here. Support at the 50-day moving average. You can see a beautiful breakout over that 29 level, ran up to 36.50, came down, found support at its 50-day moving average, and this chart, the daily chart, has a nice look to it. When we look over at the weekly chart, just sort of a shallow little cup base here. So good one for the watch list. Stock still hasn't moved into new high ground, but it's got a blue dot for relative strength. That just tells you the stock has really been outperforming quite a bit. And just like the look of the weekly chart here, and definitely a name to watch in the group.
Exactly. Yeah. A compelling early entry here as well that it's shaping up. Let's also take a look at TS Tenaris, a steel producer, having a pretty strong week this week, already up over 6%. A lot of that coming from today, up 3.4%. And Tenaris, of course, at that intersection of steel and energy, with making steel pipes for energy and industrial applications, Ken.
Yep. And this is a leaderboard stock. We thought about increasing the position today, but after 3 straight up days, felt like we might have been chasing it a little bit. Nonetheless, this is just below a pivot here of 35.05. So again, I would not have faulted anybody for looking to buy the stock for the first time. Like you showed here, it is breaking out over a trend line. We'll go to the weekly chart and see this is a pretty nice setup. In fact, I think it's on the verge of completing a flat base by the end of this week. So good accumulation as the stock worked its way higher, then moved sideways above the 10-week moving average. So good technical setup. Will the market let this stock run? That remains to be seen. But if oil, continues to find a bid here, which is possible, Tenaris tends to move with oil. So when oil's up big, Tenaris tends to move with it as well. And oil did have a good day today, at least up 2 to 3%.
Okay. And last but not least, let's check in on FLR, building heavy construction stock, industrial plays, kicking it up a notch here today, with this stock up about 2.5%. And it's been looking pretty strong, especially since coming off of its late September lows around the 23 area, now trading back above 35.
Yeah, I really like the look of this stock as well. I mentioned the industry group, the building sector and the heavy construction subgroup. There's a lot of strong price performers here. Fluor had a nice turnaround quarter in its latest quarter when they showed a 16% rise in revenue. It's got a big estimate for 2023, which looks pretty compelling. Expected to earn $1.66 versus 92 cents in 2022. So again, the same situation here. This was a good heavy volume breakout. There was good volume. You look down the volume bars on the bottom there as the stock broke out of this consolidation. It and then it's just kind of pulled back in generally light volume here. So this looks to be, it's not, a test of the 10-week line in spirit. Technically, it didn't touch it, but to me, it looks fine here. Not too extended from the 10-week line. I think at last check, maybe 6-7%. Yeah. So, just another stock showing great price action in this market. And I think Fluor looks good here, and really strong industry group. It ranks 50th. So it's in basically the top 25th percentile, but a lot of strong price performance here. You can see all those strong RS stocks and good breadth of leadership here.
Exactly. Yeah. And that RS line looking pretty good here as well at this juncture. All right, Ken, thanks so much for your analysis, and thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back with more tomorrow morning on IBD Live. So please join the team, investors.com/IBD Live, for all the details. We'll see you there, and the team will see you back here tomorrow. It's going to be Ken and Justin. So see you then, and I'll see everyone next week. Bye.